Hey, I'm Craig, and I'm a friend of Bobby's, and what I've got for you today is probably going to shock a lot of women, and it might even piss you off. And the reason that is because this is something that women have absolutely no idea that they're doing. And when you realize that you've been missing some of these signs and some of these signals, it'll probably tick you off a little bit, because you'll realize of some of the hookups and girls you might have been able to sleep with that you let pass by over the years because you missed these things. Now, what I'm about to tell you is that women speak a different language than men, and they're constantly giving off signals as they're walking through the world that are communicating to whoever can read these signals what they're thinking, what they're interested in, what they want you to do next, if they want to hook up, what kind of mood they're in sexually. So as you see a girl walking down the street, or you see a girl in a cafe reading a book, or a girl at a bar with her friends, or a nightclub, any situation you could possibly imagine, women are constantly giving off these signals, and they're not even aware of them, and it's like a secret language. And if you know how to decode it, then you could get a lot of information. So just imagine if you knew exactly which women were interested in you. You would never really have to get rejected, because you could only talk to women that you knew were interested in you too. Or let's say you could walk into a bar and you could instantly know which girls wanted to hook up and which girls wanted a one-night stand. Think of how powerful that would be. And so, this is really going to give you a lot of opportunity to pick up on signals that most guys don't even know exist out there. And this is going to give you an opportunity to hook up with a lot more women and get a lot more girls rejection-free than you've been getting before. And what I want to give you today is I actually want to give you one of the best tips that I have. This is three signals that you can look for if you're out at a bar and you want to see if a girl wants to have a one-night stand that night. So if you've ever been out at a bar and you've thought that you wanted to hook up or go home with a girl and have some fun, these are 3 signals that you can look for. And I'm also going to give you the 3 critical follow-up questions that you want to ask her to make sure that the deal is sealed and she's down to hook up, so that you don't waste your time. Now, a little bit about me, because you probably have no idea who I am. My name's Craig Miller, and I've known Bobby Rio for probably 5 years at this point, and Bobby and I actually grew up about 25 minutes away from each other when we were kids, and I've been helping men with their dating lives for the past probably 7 years here in New York City. And one of the things that I've noticed, because a lot of people come to my seminars and they work with me one-on-one, is that they say, "Hey, Craig, you're a good-looking guy. It doesn't seem like you've ever really had any problems with this part of your life. So, why should I learn from you? And are you going to be able to teach me? Because I don't really feel like I'm in your shoes. I feel like I'm in a different situation. You probably never had to deal with the stuff that I had to deal with." And what I always make sure that I tell people before every seminar that I do and every time we work together, and I'll tell you right now, is that until I was 21, for most of my entire life, I hadn't even kissed a girl, let alone close the deal. So I had no idea what I was doing, and I joke around with my friends now that if you put me on a couch back in high school with a girl who was ready to hook up at 2 a.m., who was drunk and just wanted a guy to hook up with, and she was making herself available to me, the best I could do was kind of make some awkward small talk with her, and then eventually she'd get the idea that I had no idea what I was doing, that I wasn't going to be the guy who was going to make a move on her, and then she would go off and she would find somebody else. And it was pretty frustrating, and I would say, for the most part, I pretty much got labeled as a guy who never hooks up with anybody, which is not a great stigma to have, especially when you're in a small high school. So when I got out of high school, I did what I think a lot of people do when they want to maybe get some more action, and I started going to the gym more, I got a new haircut, and I got new clothes. Those seemed like the easiest things to do. And also, from everything I'd heard so far in my life, I knew women wanted a hot guy, they wanted an attractive guy. So I wanted to make sure that I made myself look better, because I thought that's what women wanted. So I went out and I did those things. And to a certain extent, it worked, because women would tell my friends that they thought I was better looking, and they wouldn't say it to my face, but I would hear it kind of through the grapevine. But as far as my actual results were concerned, I still had absolutely nothing. I mean, I still, I didn't even have a girl coming up to flirt with me. I still had no dates, and I still hadn't even kissed a girl. So I mean, as far as anything to show for it, I had pretty much nothing. So I gave this a shot for about 3 years because I couldn't really think of anything else to do at that point. But after about 3 years, I started to think, boy, you know, this is like, there's probably something else to this that doesn't have to do with how I look, you know, or money or things like that. You know, I think it has to do with how I act and how I behave, and I'm gonna have to work on that part of what I do. But I wasn't really sure what to do. So at this point, I don't know whether it was just that that's what I had decided to do in my life or what, but you know, I mentioned I was going to the gym a little bit, and just by sheer luck, I found a underground section of a fitness website that I had gone on. It was called the sex section, and the sex section was full of guys posting naked pictures of women they found on the internet. It was guys complaining about their ex-girlfriends, but then there was a small section of guys who were talking about picking up girls at the gym, and this is something that I really gravitated towards because I felt like I had no other options. You know, at that time, there really was no online dating. Hadn't really become popularized now. People didn't even have cameras on their phones. You know, I wasn't meeting people out at bars. My friends weren't introducing me to anybody. So as far as I was concerned, this was really my only option. And as I got better and better at this and started practicing more, meeting more women, had more experiences, I started to realize that 99% of what other guys out there were missing were these signals that women were sending, and I couldn't see them for most of my life either, but eventually I started to notice that there are these signals that you can pick up on if you really look for them, and women are telling you exactly what they want and exactly what they want you to do next. And if you've ever had a friend, you know, think about the guy you know who's probably the best with women throughout the history of your life, a guy who seems like he gets every girl he wants and he never gets rejected. You know, that's kind of absurd to say a guy would never get rejected, but what these guys are essentially doing is they only go and they pursue the girls they know are already interested in them. So it looks like when they go up and talk to a girl or they make a move on a girl that they never get turned down, and it's because they know these signals to look for that other guys can't pick up. So you can imagine that this could be really life-changing because you could pretty much know exactly what's going to happen and what to do next and never make a mistake if you know the signals to look for. So today I'm going to tell you one of my best tricks, which is 3 signals that you can look for if a girl wants to have a one-night stand at a bar. And I'm going to tell you what those are right now. The first one that you want to look for, and I'm going to go in order of how obvious they are and how significant they are. But the first thing you want to look for is dancing. Now, I know this one seems silly because if you're out at a bar or a club, there's going to be a lot of people dancing. But one of the things that women will do when they want to catch a guy's attention is they'll dance. And I've heard women admit this to me, but the first time somebody told me this was a guy that I was working with who I had hired to help me as a personal coach for my own dating life because it was really so bad at one point. And he pointed out to me what I would have never noticed. We were at this bar and he said, "This girl's totally interested in you." And I said, "What do you mean?" Her back is facing me, she's with her friends, she's not looking at me, she's not trying to talk to me. If she was interested, wouldn't she at least try to say something? And he goes, "Yeah, but you don't see, she's dancing. None of her friends are dancing. Nobody else around here is dancing. She's dancing. She's trying to catch your attention." And I realized and I learned from him that women do a lot of different things to catch a man's attention, and one of the big things they'll do out at a bar is they'll dance because it really brings a lot of attention to how they look and their body and that sort of thing. So really look out for that. I know this sounds like simple stuff, but keep an eye out for this. The next one that you want to look for is her distance to you and how close she is to you. So if she's trying to make herself available to you, which is often how women go about dating, they'll make themselves available to you rather than being the aggressor and trying to pick you up. They want you to pick them up, so they'll instead make themselves available. So by making herself available to you, you know, one of the ways she'll do that is by getting close to you. Now, again, she still might not face you, she might not even look at you, but if you notice that she suddenly become a lot closer to you or moved closer to you, that's a really good signal to look for, especially if it doesn't really make any sense for her to be closer to you. So let's say like you're not near the bar. Let's say you're on another part of the bar, or let's say maybe you are near the bar but she's not ordering drinks, and all of a sudden her and her friends, or just her, have come over near you, and you say, you notice it, and you say to yourself, well, is there really any reason for her to be over here right now? Is there a logical explanation for why she came over here? So I would really look out for that. And a lot of times, even if a girl comes next to you and she's ordering drinks, you look at all the other, a bar is what, 20, it can be 20 feet long, longer than that. So all the places she could go in the bar or along the bar to order a drink, she picked the place that's closest to you. So she's really giving you some signals here that she's decided to be close to you. And then the final one is eye contact. Again, this is a huge one, but I think a lot of guys miss this simple one. If a girl's looking at you, even if she doesn't smile, and even if she looks away when you look at her, I would say this is a huge indicator that she's interested in you, and you should definitely consider her an opportunity for a one-night stand. Now, again, I know that these are very simple things, but believe me, next time you're at a bar, it's going to be like you have hyper-awareness, and you're just going to start to notice these things on another level that you didn't start to notice them before. The things from this video are going to enter your mind, and you're going to begin to look at the women who are dancing and the women who are around you and the women who are looking at you in a hyper-aware way that's going to be more obvious to you than it is now, and it's really going to increase your opportunities to have one-night stands. Now, once you find a girl that fits the bill and she seems like she wants to have a one-night stand, you want to ask these 3 specific questions to make sure that it's really a solid deal. So the first one, I'll go through them all right now. The first one is, what are you up to later tonight? Second one is, what are you up to tomorrow? And the third one is, how did you get here, or who did you come here with? And that's going to give you pretty much all the information that you're going to need. The first one, which is, what are you up to later tonight? If she's got to go in 30 minutes to her best friend's birthday party that she can't miss for X, Y, and Z reason, then you know there's no way that you're probably going to end up having a one-night stand, because she's going to be at her friend's birthday party, she's got to go. So unless you can figure out a way to meet her there later, it's going to be unlikely. There's going to be problems in your plans. Or if she's like, I got to get to bed in 2 hours for X, Y, and Z reason. Now the next question is, what is she doing tomorrow? And you ask that one because you want to know how early she's got to get up for work, if she's got to catch a plane flight at 6 a.m. So these are things that could really put a damper in your plans, and you need to know this. And then the third one is, how'd you get here? Who'd you come here with? And that's all about finding out if she's a designated driver, because if she drove here with a bunch of people and she's a designated driver and she's got to drive them all back, that will tell you that's probably not a good opportunity, because she doesn't have the opportunity to make that happen. So you're going to want to look out for these questions and really pay attention to the answers to them. And believe me, when you're in a conversation and you're asking somebody a lot of questions and trying to get to know them and just kind of small talking at a bar, these aren't going to set anybody's radars off. These are pretty common questions. I think when 2 people meet at a bar, asking what somebody's up to later, it's not really going to set off any triggers or radars or red flags in anybody's mind, because they're just going to think this is just regular small talk. So these are very stealth questions that no girl is going to pick up on that you can use. Now, like I said, this is a great tip that I've come up with over the years, but if you really want to take this to the next level and you're ready for a full-length presentation on the secret language of women and how you can use it not just to decode their signals, but also speak back to them in a way that you can get them to do what you want, then you're going to want to watch the full-length presentation that I've got. So this is really just some quick tips I've got, and something I wanted to do to introduce myself to you on behalf of Bobby. And if you're ready for the full-length thing, this is what I want you to do next. If you look below this video, you're going to see a link to the full-length presentation. And this isn't just going to tell you more about her signals and more about the benefits about how you do this. I'm also going to give you 3 of my very best tips I've discovered over the years to decode signals about women and to pick up on their signals and also speak their language back to them and get them to be able to do what you want. So if you want to get those 3 tips and you want to take your knowledge of the secret language of women and the signals that they're out there sending to the next level, then you're going to want to look below this video now and click that clip. And big thanks to you for watching this video. And big thanks to Bobby for doing this collaboration together. I wish he could have been here. He was on vacation today. Lucky him. And I'll talk to you soon.